Joaquin Phoenix isn't Batman's brother. This is spoilers.
This is spoiler.
See, that shouldn't be a spoiler, but then it is kind of if you get halfway through the movie. So I thought it'd be okay. Hey, everybody, welcome to Spoilers. This is our 11th new movie of 2019, and it's a big one. It's Joker, and it's a superhero movie, so of course we have our superhero correspondent PK on. PK, what's up?
Yo. I mean, I would not be the one to call Joker a superhero, but I'm glad to be on this one, and I'm excited to talk about this movie.
Yeah, I guess I should tell the audience I'm a big incel, so he's like my idol. Big time incel over here. PK, as our superhero correspondent, let's introduce Mikey too first real quick. Mikey, you're in Goshen tonight, right?
Yep, recording out of Goshen tonight, and I'm excited to talk about this movie. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about it, so...
Is it true that Goshen has a giant infestation of super rats right now, or is that
Oh, I wish they kind of explored that more. I was hoping he was going to go up against a super rat in an alley.
Super cat, super rat.
Yeah.
Well, we could like to get right into it, but PK, since this is one of our... It won't be the last time we have you on, but it is one of the last comic book movies of the year. I asked you guys to rank the superhero movies you've seen so far this year. PK, go first. Like, where does this fall, sort of set the stage?
I mean, that's a good question. I wouldn't rank this among the other comic book movies of this year, because this is unlike any other comic book movie I've ever seen. I wouldn't even consider this a comic book movie. I would consider this a movie with comic book characters.
Mm-hmm.
So putting it on a new level, I think I'd have to give it to Avengers Endgame, just because, you know me, I'm a Marvel geek and the culmination of the MCU, but this movie is incredible, and this might be one of my favorites of the year. So yeah, it's
you hear a lot of words like film and cinema associated with Joker. It won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival, which is, it's got mixed reviews. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But Mikey, where does this fall in your list of superhero movies?
I think PK makes a good point that it doesn't really feel like a superhero movie. So it does feel like a movie, like a thriller, kind of like Seven or something, just featuring a comic book character. But I unfortunately did not enjoy it as much as you guys did, I think. I would definitely have Avengers Endgame first for the year, and then probably Spider-Man and Captain Marvel, but I don't know. I think this falls, just for superhero movies, I'd say like 6th or something. I don't know. It just... And I was excited to see it too, so I went in pretty optimistic about it, and then just kind of came out feeling like maybe the script wasn't well-rounded enough or something. I don't think it got its message across very well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a good point too. And this movie's been faced with a lot of criticism, kind of around the messaging. But I do want to start off with what I thought was probably the best part of the movie, which is Joaquin Phoenix's performance. PK, he's unlike any other Joker I've ever seen, especially with his laughing condition. What would you think about him in this movie?
Oh man, where to start? I mean, I'm glad you said he's unlike any other Joker, because I'm like, I don't think it's fair to compare him to anybody else. I don't think it's fair to compare any Joker to the other Jokers, because they all try to do their own thing and make it their own. So he took it to a whole new level. I mean, I'm a huge Joaquin Phoenix fan. I love how he sinks himself into the roles, but I remember hearing about how he came up with his laugh and how he based it off of this disorder like a month before the movie came out. So I looked it up, and there's a video on YouTube of a guy who's like pulled over in a parking lot, and he has this, and it's exactly how Joaquin Phoenix portrays it. It's like he looks like he's in pain and he doesn't want to laugh, and it's terrifying because it's a real thing, and it kind of makes you feel for the guy. But yeah, we could talk about this performance all day, but what did you guys think about it?
He lost a ton of weight for the role. Physically, it looked pretty demanding. I mean, especially those shots where he had his shirt off and you could like see his spine poking out of his back. I mean, that was pretty striking. Like I said, from a physical performance. I don't think he's going to win the Oscar like Heath Ledger did, but I would say he's one of my favorite Jokers. We don't see a lot of him. I mean, he doesn't become Joker until the end of the film, right? It's kind of his evolution into Joker. But
that third act, man. Whew.
What'd you think, Mikey?
Going back to the laugh, I actually kind of hated his laugh because he was like kind of choking on it. He was like kind of choking and gagging on it at some point, and I thought they were gonna pull off this thing at the end where he's no longer like choking on the laugh. He's just like letting it go, and it's like actually like crazy Mark Hamill type laughter. He's always kind of like choking on it throughout the whole movie. So I thought they missed an opportunity there to like just one little more writing thing to add in there to like really sell it over the top of this guy's like straight on crazy now. But I don't know, I didn't really like his laugh, but I thought he was a great performer. I thought unlike Heath Ledger, he has to carry the whole movie. Heath Ledger's, we only get the snippets, and like of course he's killing it in every one of those scenes, but Joaquin has to carry the whole movie, and I think he does a great job.
And you also get like two different characters, essentially. He's playing the Joker and he's playing Arthur Fleck, which is like complete opposites. And I think that says a lot about his performance too.
It's a really true origin story, like you said, that he's trying to play two characters. And I want to kind of touch on the origin from a plot perspective, from a writing perspective, and see if, Mikey, we can dig into like some of the things that you didn't like. But the way I see it is that it was Joker's, and obviously spoilers if this is the first episode you've heard, but so Joker's mom is basically kind of the reason he's so fucked up. I mean, there's a lot of talk about society, but for me, it kind of all came down to the way his mom abused him. Would you guys agree with that?
I think so. I think it's like, I feel like that stuff he kind of suppressed so far down that he didn't really remember. And then like all the shit that's happened to him in the present time and the society stuff kind of brought him to the edge. And I think the finding out the stuff about his mother, who he took so much time and effort to take care of, I think that just is the part that sent him over the edge.
I think they dropped the ball with that Bruce Wayne is my brother thing. That would have been a great twist. And then they just kind of dropped it at the gate or whatever at the Manor Mansion. And it was just like, wow, that is a twist that I don't know if it's ever been pulled off in the comics. I mean, I'm sure there's like some alternate universe stuff where that's been done, but it's like, wow, that was a really good through line to like connect these two people eventually that will become like mortal enemies. And
but at the same time, you know, like Thomas Wayne is so powerful, you know, he could have covered
so
it
hard
up
into the evil capitalist thing. It's like, just go with it. Make Thomas Wayne the bad guy.
And I wonder if that's what makes it kind of unpalatable for some critics, is that the billionaire, well, I guess in theory he still could be covering up, but it seems like the text is saying that it was really just Joker's mom was fucking batshit crazy, and that's what was causing all of this. Kind of another point I want to touch on too. Host Stevie called me and was asking me what I thought about it, and I thought that yes, it was controversial. The only thing that I didn't like from a plot point was the fact that what's his neighbor's name? The character? Do you guys have that? He has this neighbor, a single mom.
Zazie Beetz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he basically like aggressively kisses her and stalks her, and you think that that's what wins her over, but this ends up being all kind of an illusion, I guess.
Hallucination.
Yeah. Did you guys like the hallucination aspect, a little plot twist? I mean, I feel like you're either all in or you're not. I liked it.
I did. It got me. Like I for some reason that short little banter they had when she kind of called him out about following him, which wasn't real, but how she's like, yeah, I wish you would have robbed the place. And he's like, I mean, I have a gun. I can come back tomorrow. I was like, man, this guy's got some weird game. I was like, maybe it works, you know? Like she seems like she lives in the same shitty place, so she can't be all that, like on her shit. So maybe, you know, maybe she should feel bad for the guy. Like, he offered her to come see his comedy show. So maybe she's like, yeah, I'll go see his comedy show and, hang out. But so I bought it, and then it's just the people, I've heard people say like the hospital part is where they're like, nah, that's bullshit. Like, no way she'd be hanging out with him there and kissing him on the forehead. But yeah, when it came to and you see the reveal of the twist, I was like, oh shit, this is crazy.
Yeah, and it goes back through all the scenes where she wasn't actually there. One of the hardest scenes to watch was when she was quote unquote watching him do stand up and he goes up there and bombs. That was some like painful, cringeworthy shit, especially at first. But we've kind of set the stage. So you have our main character, Joker, or who's becoming the Joker, and he's becoming delusional. He's got this fucked up family life. And then we have two sort of plot points coming to a head. One is that Mikey, the way you put it before the podcast, he's the ultimate Bernie bro, and he murders 3 Wall Street guys on the subway. I found it interesting that he never brings up later that this was mostly self-defense until the end. I mean, it gets a little carried away, but it was mostly self-defense.
He even makes a point to say that those people out there wearing his makeup and stuff, he's like, I am not associated with those people. Until
I'm not political. I don't believe anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, he does defend himself on that train, but even then I thought that was like, he's not even in the wrong, I guess, because he's getting the shit kicked out of him on this train. He could have gotten killed, but
at the same time, you could tell he definitely like enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where it's the fine line.
I love the scene. I mean, it was something out of it was Hitchcockian when having the showdown, trying to decide who's going to leave the subway car first.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, and as soon as he jumps out, he's just fucking dead. But that's one plot point. So it's starting this political kind of revolution now. Very Guy Fawkes V for Vendetta esque. That's happening. The people of Gotham are gamers rising up, and then you have Robert De Niro. Mikey, you want to tell us a little bit about Bobby D in this movie? He's having a big fall with this in the Irishman.
Yeah, he's playing Jimmy Fallon in 1975, and he's just the host of like pseudo Tonight Show type late night show
on NCB.
NCB.
Oh gosh. But they end up finding the Joker's 15-minute set on YouTube or something. Yeah. somebody was somehow recording that set in that Comedy Store, and they put it on the show, and they're just laughing at him, and the Joker ends up getting all this attention, and then they end up wanting to bring him on the show because he was such a hit he kind of went viral for back then on the show. So
he's the Numa guy of Gotham.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, but what did you guys think of Robert De Niro? I kind of was a little bit confused on kind of like his motivations, I guess. I mean, like, the Joker shows up looking absolutely insane, and he just kind of rolls with the punches, and he's like, okay, we're going to do this live, I guess.
He's doing anything he can to get good ratings, He's like, it'll work. It'll bring in... that's what he's like. He's like, it'll be fine. It'll work. So I think he just wants to get good numbers and good viewers, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, the ironic thing is I don't find it to be even particularly cruel. I think an important thing and kind of watching or interpreting this film is to know that even if things seem kind of unfair from the Joker's perspective, at the end of the day, Robert De Niro is not really being all that cruel. Like, yeah, he makes some jokes on him, but it's no different than David Letterman having the guy on from American Movie. You know what I mean? It's basically the exact same thing. So it's, I don't know. Tommy Wiseau's made a career out of it. It's worked out well for some people. So we had those two things kind of coming to a head, like we talked about. He has him on as kind of like as a guest spot, and Joker plans on killing himself on the air, but he doesn't do this. He ends up shooting Robert De Niro in the face. Spoiler alert: it's like a reverse in Jackie Brown when Robert De Niro kills that lady, but. Kind of this ending part, it was a little bit confusing for me. I didn't know if does Joker actually end up in jail, or was that a hallucination, and does he actually get saved by those people PK, you know what I'm talking about there? This
Yeah,
last
yeah.
little bit.
Well, I wanna go back real fast to before he goes on the show when his quote unquote friend that gives him the gun comes over to his apartment. Because that scene, I think, was probably the most Joker scene of the whole movie. Because, you know, this guy comes over who kind of fucked him over and caused him to lose his job. And this is right after he kills his mother, and he's full-on Joker. And he dyes his hair. He's got just the white paint, which I think that's the creepiest he ever looked in the movie, was just the white with the green hair. And they're like, what's with the makeup? And he's like, oh, my mom just died. I'm celebrating. He just says it so casual.
Right.
And then, he proceeds to brutally murder this guy, like, just out of nowhere. And I love the fact that he goes from brutally murdering this guy to, like, blood all over his face to snaps out of it immediately and looks at the little guy and goes, you watch the Murray Franklin show?
Yeah.
I'm going to be on tonight. And it's just like... That's totally the Joker. And then, you know, the little comedy part where the little guy tries to unlock the door and he can't. And you're like, fuck, he's going to kill him now. And then he does another thing. Like I said, that's totally the Joker. He kisses him on the cheek. You're the only one who's ever been nice to me. And he just lets him go.
He takes off sprinting out of the apartment.
I like that scene, but they blow it because they show the knife. And if you don't see the knife and he just attacks this guy...
I saw it today the second time, and I noticed. I was like, if I like that they showed him grab it when they like initially rang the doorbell. But then you're right, they show it one more time right before he does it, and it kind of...
they don't show that knife. That's a totally different scene.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of Drive. I don't like this movie as much as Drive, but like it's a violent movie, I guess, in total, but there's only really 2 or 3 moments of violence.
Exactly. It's very realistic violence. That's why I think people freak out about it.
It's hyper violent though. Yeah.
And that's a good point. I have a couple other just kind of high level stuff I want to talk about, and then we can open it up. I want to ask you guys what you thought about this interpretation of Gotham. I fucking loved it. It was one of my favorite parts. It reminded me quite a bit of It Follows, where all of the components of the set design, the production design are kind of pulled from different times. Like at one point they go to see a Charlie Chaplin movie, which is from the 30s, but there's broadcast TV, but it's in black and white, so it's like the 50s. The cars are from the 70s. At one point they play that. Ba, 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 ba,
Dude, that... oh my gosh.
Which is like a song from the 90s. So I touched on a lot there, but did you guys like this Gotham? Now we've seen a few now. In movies.
The Gotham with super rats and garbage littering the streets. I thought it was like pretty gritty, and it reminded me, again, like I said, Seven, so it reminded me of that type of disgusting beatdown type of city.
Yeah, it was just grimy. Like, that's all Gotham is supposed to be, you know? It's supposed to be just like New York on steroids, just gross. And like how they mentioned at the beginning, they have a trash strike, so there's just trash bags and just a bunch of trash just building up on the side of the street. And it's just not a place you want to be, or that's really livable unless you're a man with money like Thomas Wayne. So it's just, I enjoyed it. But like, going back to that song choice you said, from the trailer, I was like, that scene where he's dancing on the steps, I was like, that's gonna be my favorite scene in the whole movie, because I know it's going to be like right when he becomes the Joker and he's just going to be letting loose. And then they choose that song, and the first time I literally was just like, what the fuck? But the second time I saw it today,
that was not a good choice.
The second time I enjoyed it more, but I still think it could have been something better. But
dude, it took me out of the movie so quick. I was like, for real, this song? Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
It can be cringy. I cringed when I first heard it, but then kind of, like I said, with the rest of the aesthetic of the movie, this could be any time when this shit's happening. So
I instantly thought of The Replacements with Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah,
it's like featured heavily in that movie.
So, and kind of along with that scene, the cinematography in this movie is really great. Were there any shots or scenes that really stood out to you guys? I mean, the dancing there on the steps for one, even though it has that that contemporary pop song playing. It still looks really cool.
There's a few scenes. I think just the cinematography and the color grading in general, for the Murray show scene at the end, like just the super extreme close-ups they have of like Joaquin Phoenix and Murray, like their conversation back and forth of like, it's like that shot from behind the seat where he's looking to the left, and it's like a close-up of the side of his face, and even like as he's getting into it more and talking about how he actually killed the people and he doesn't give a shit, and you can tell he's letting loose and he doesn't care. I thought the cinematography in that scene was just so good. And like right after he shoots Murray, they get that shot of what it looks like through the monitor of like what it would look like on TV. And he's just sitting there with his legs still crossed, like, what's up? Next question. Anybody else got anything? It's just, man, it was intense.
Mikey, anything stand out from you or for you visually? Was it a strong point of the movie at least?
Yeah, I thought it was really good cinematography. I really liked this. I think this is like after he kills his first person in the subway and he's running into the bathroom and he's like turning into the Joker. He's like dancing in front of the mirror. I thought that was like, oh, he's losing his mind. Yeah, that was really good cinematography.
The music was really uncomfortable during that scene too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it just looks so good. All of the set pieces they have, or like the set design they have, like we said, is just so dirty and gross. I mean, they could do anything with the camera and still look pretty good. I think it's a good looking movie.
It is a good looking movie, and this last little point that I had here is kind of twofold. It's a little bit more of a serious topic, but I guess. Do you guys see anything in this movie that could potentially be controversial? I've been reading quite a bit of some of the lower scoring reviews on Letterboxd and Rotten Tomatoes, and it seems to be, one, the empowering of the incels was an earlier criticism of the film, but two, it seems to be more that people think this movie thinks it's smarter than it is, or that it doesn't have a lot to say. I would tend to disagree with that, but I guess what are your guys' thoughts from a controversy of the film perspective?
I would have to say I guess I still don't understand it. I mean, this guy seems like in today's society, he's someone who needs help. Yeah, that could be provided, and he's getting all of these social services stripped away from him, and he's just now spiraling because he has nothing to help him stay afloat. He's got mental health issues, obviously, and he just lost his job and all of the stuff, and that's like a common thing. I mean, that's the thing that happens in society, and I think it just makes it look like people who are in need are going to turn into these psychopathic murderers or something. I think it puts off a bad message when it could do something else with that. I don't know. It just didn't really make much sense to me what its message was trying to say, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't really read into the controversial stuff too much because, I mean, I've talked about it before on this podcast. I like to go in blind as possible for movies I really want to see, so I didn't want to read anything too much. But I mean, hearing about this movie condones violence and all this stuff. It's like I don't think it does that at all. I think you spend the whole time seeing him go through this shit and you're rooting for him to not snap, even though you know it's going to happen. And I think, if anything, it's sending more of a message towards, I had a conversation with my buddy I saw it with today, and he was first thing he said after the movie, he was like, well, that was an indictment on all of us. He's basically, it's just I think Todd Phillips is kind of trying to say, we need to start being more conscious of shit like this and being nicer to people and putting yourself in other people's shoes, and otherwise not necessarily some guy in a fucking clown makeup is going to start killing people and making an uprising, but more shit like this could happen and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it could shed the light on some mental illness stuff, but I don't know. It's just people hear and see what they want to see. So it's never going to, excuse me, it's never going to fix a problem or cause a problem completely. Everybody's going to believe and see what they want to see.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that last point that you had there, that people are just going to see kind of what they want to see in this. And to me, like I said, there was a weird kind of risk of violence around going to the movie theater before this movie. Like, there was extra security at my screening. There were like weird memes about it. A few miles south in Aurora, Colorado, they weren't even showing the movie. So just a lot of weird kind of peripheral things around this movie. But to the point of the themes, I don't understand why this movie seems to be held to a higher standard than other Marvel movies. Like, what the fuck are the themes in Ant-Man and the Wasp? You know what I mean? Like, why is this movie responsible for, make a commentary on society? And if anything, you take another Joker origin story, the Killing Joke, and the whole like one bad day theme. Like, this is way more realistic than someone snapping after one bad day.
Yeah, one moment that made him flip. It was, you kind of buy it, like because you see all the shit he goes through, and then you find out the bullshit he went through in his childhood too, and it's like, oh shit, like, yeah, he's always been fucked up. It's not like it just happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's way more of a compelling story to me. But before we get to our rating system, yes or no's, do we have any? You guys have any final thoughts? Anything we didn't touch on you'd like to talk about?
I wanted to go back because I kind of skipped over what you asked me earlier about the whole like ending. If you think he really did like rally the troops or whatever, but like first time I watched it, I was like, oh, that's how it went, But after this second time, I'm thinking that whole ambulance crashing into the cop car, I don't know if that truly ever happened.
Yeah.
Because, and because if it did, it's like, how did he get caught? When else did he get caught? Because it seemed like he would have a freaking army behind him at that point. But I loved that part where they bring him out and he wakes up and the shot of him kind of putting his hand in his mouth and making the smile with the blood and just full on accepting his role as the clown prince of crime. And that was just like, it was weird. I got goosebumps when he did that, but I don't know if that makes me fucked up.
You want to make that scene even better? Make that someone else's blood.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
make
very
him
true.
Go absolutely crazy.
But, and then the very end, it's like he's laughing about a joke that he sees Bruce Wayne with his dead parents, and he's like, you wouldn't get it. And then it's like they make you think that he actually killed that lady and that he's being interviewed by and escaping. So who knows what really happened, or I don't think they plan on making a sequel, so I don't really care. I loved the end. I think it was great. I was a big fan of this movie.
So great as a standalone piece. Mikey, you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I was just going to ask if you guys thought there was going to be a sequel.
I don't think so, but I was wondering if they're going to make somehow a connection between this and like the Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves Batman. Like, seeing if that guy grows up to be, Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Because I could see, because I heard something about Joaquin Phoenix doesn't want to make a franchise, but maybe they could talk him into making like one scene, he comes back, or he just becomes the guy who inspires like somebody to be the Joker. I don't know.
Yeah, I would love that. I was just talking about the Matt Reeves Batman right after we got out of the movie. Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I hope it. Like, either way, I think DC's taken a step in the right direction. PK,
yes.
From when we had you on Justice League almost 2 years ago. Now that's hard to believe. But why don't you give us your yes or no for Todd Phillips's Joker?
Definitely yes. I was looking forward to this movie for a while. This is kind of like a movie I never thought I'd really see, like a Joker standalone without Batman. But it worked out better than I thought. It hit me in ways I didn't think it would. I think everybody should go see it, just for the fact that it is a controversial film at this time, and it kind of reflects the society we live in. Yeah, definitely yes. And like you said, I think DC is on the upswing, and I think they have a really good opportunity. I think I might have said this before, but to take advantage and go an opposite direction of Marvel. And especially now that Disney's taken over Marvel hardcore, like I think DC could do well without going to try to do a cinematic universe. Just do more standalone films and get darker, get grittier. Because I think their characters are more in line with that anyway, especially Batman. So I would love to see a rated R Matt Reeves Batman. So definitely yes, Joaquin Phoenix deserves an Oscar, even though he probably won't get one. But yes.
Yeah. I'll go next. Burn the Snyder Cut along those lines. I'm glad DC does seem to be moving in the right direction. I think conceptually it's like my favorite superhero movie of the year by far, and from a visual standpoint, it's also there. I would agree, I guess, with some of the criticisms. That I don't know if there are profound themes on it. Certainly not an anti-capitalistic theme per se, but I do think that because there's an unreliable narrator, like it should be called into question. Like you shouldn't think that he's a good guy, and that whole like political revolution that he starts at the end may not have even have happened. So to me, it's not a controversial film. I don't understand those criticisms, and then what we're left with is just a really pretty, interesting take on the superhero genre, which is a hard yes for me. So last but not least, Mikey, you like this the least. Will you make it preserved, though?
I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and that's a yes on my scale. So I'd say go see it. I don't know if you gotta go see it in a theater. I think you could wait if you're really on the fence about it. But I just thought it dropped some balls on some of the writing. Just little writing things, like I was saying, just like, oh, make him smear some other person's blood on his face, or hide the knife or something. Just little things that would have really pulled off better on screen and really shown how crazy this person is or something. But in terms of the messaging, like I said before, I think it didn't pull it off the way it wanted to, but I don't think it's controversial in any sort of way that people are talking about online. I just don't believe that sort of hype. And I don't know. I think Joaquin is awesome in this, but I think the writing kind of lets him down a little bit. But if you're interested, you should go see it.
There you go. It's 3 yeses. Another preserved superhero movie here in 2019. Thanks again for coming on, PK. Are there any movies coming out for the rest of the year that you want to be sure to get on?
I'm going to have to get back to you on that, but I'm always down, so whenever you guys want me, I'll be there.
Well,
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, well, you're always welcome. Thank you for listening, and take it away, Spoiler Man.
Spoiler Man here. Our email is podcastspoilers@gmail.com. Twitter is @spoilers_pod. Our Instagram is podcastspoilers. It's lit. Josh Hensley from the Rutabaga wrote our theme song. Our spoilers hotline is 903-776-4507. That's 903-SPOIL07. Please support this podcast by leaving us an iTunes review. To do this, 1. Search for movie spoilers. 2. Click on our orange Spoilers Bowl logo and scroll all the way to the bottom. 3. Leave us some stars and some words.
That was Spoilers.